Hey guys, what's happening? Joe Von Grichton here in Southern California, living here with my beautiful wife and our three amazing kiddos. I say kiddos because I like to keep them young, but the reality is they're growing up way too fast, way too fast. Our youngest is soon to be 14. Our oldest is getting ready to go to college, and man, oh man, um, time is absolutely flying by, right? But we live here in beautiful Southern California, in Temecula wine country. I don't know if you've ever been there or not, but Temecula, if you have not been and you love wine, you have to come check it out. There's actually an annual balloon and wine festival here every May. Live music, multiple music stages. We have over 70 wineries that are here in our valley. It is a great time. I highly recommend that you come and visit. And that's what I'd love to learn about you. Where are you watching from? If you're watching this either on replay or you're watching it live, I'd love to see where you're from. Put in your, what area you're from, what city you're from, and tell me a little bit something you think I may not know or that I should know about your city. That'd be awesome. Like I just did about wine country. We are actually about 70 miles north of San Diego and about 90 miles east of LAX. So we're kind of like in between Palm Springs and LAX. If you're familiar with those areas, those are obviously bigger names. And then Orange County, if you drew a triangle from LAX to us, and then down to San Diego, and then back up to LAX, the middle on the other side of the mountain range there, the San Juan Capistrano Mountains there, are Cleveland National Forest. That's where uh, Orange County is. So, with that, make sure you tell me where you're from, a little bit about it. I love to learn because, like I said, I say it all the time. I want to put it on my bucket list if it's something that's like, oh, wow, that's cool. And even if it's not a bucket list thing, I still love to learn something new. So, thank you for that in advance. And if you find value in this video, you found value in the things, maybe you watch some other videos that we have, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Definitely leave a comment. I would love for you to share it. And of course, you can always put it in your favorites as well. Because today is going to be a good one. Today is, the top 10 reasons why online businesses fail. And it's absolutely huge because um, most people think they're just going to, go online, start a business, and they're going to make millions because that's what they've been told. People like me have gone out there and sold you and inspired you to go out there and do it. And not that it's not possible, but there are 10 reasons that I'm going to share with you today why most busy parents that try and do this, the underlying word try, you got to take that out of your vocabulary. But I'm going to share with you the 10 reasons why that's happening. Hold on 2 seconds here. I'm going to get rid of some information over here and see if that will help. I apologize, guys. Not quite sure what is pulling down the performance here, but I just want to make sure we're getting a good feed. So if you're having a bad feed, I apologize in advance. So today we're going to talk about the top 10 reasons why online businesses fail and how busy parents can avoid these mistakes. And I'm going to actually even share with you a model that will help you get focused, that will eliminate all of these things for you, or at least walk you through making sure that you don't, and encounter these pitfalls, if you will. So I think when I just thought of pitfall, I don't know how old some of you guys are, but if you're like me, back in the old days in the 80s, 70s and 80s, there was a game. It was called Pitfall, and it just made me think of that. Anyways, I'm dating myself right now. But so let's get into it. If you hop on, definitely make sure, tell me where you're from. Tell me a little bit about where you're from. I'd love to learn. With that, let's get into the first reason why most online businesses fail, and they fail miserably. And the first is because of lack of research. What do I mean? Lack of market research. What do I mean by that? Well, when I was in college and I was a business major and I had to do tons of marketing plans. That was my my specialty, I guess, if you will. It wasn't a major or a minor, but it was something that I found myself doing quite a bit, especially as I was finishing my degree, my undergrad. And that this was a big one, is that there's lots of great products and services out there that nobody ever really needs. How do I know this? Because today, back then, I learned it a lot in college, but today I watch Shark Tank quite a bit. Love it. Watch it with my kids, watch it with family. And I'm always amazed by these people that come on and they have these really crazy products or service ideas that don't really, it's like they created them and it's really cool, but there's not really a market for it, right? It's not really solving a problem. It's not solving a solution, right? Or giving a solution, I should say. And so it's important that you understand your market, right? Understand that, make sure that there's actually a problem out there, okay, that your product or service is solving, right? The second reason, no target audience. This is a big one, guys. I did this personally. When I first started my first consulting business, um, I thought I could help everybody. And not that I couldn't help everybody, but the problem with that, when you're going out to share your product or service with somebody, if the messaging isn't correct because you don't know your audience, you could lose them, not because your product or service isn't of value to another audience, because you didn't understand who your audience actually is. So you always start with one. Usually you'll have most businesses that do really well will end up having like two or three over the lifetime of their business that are very specific. Okay. So for example, I specialize in helping and coaching busy parents, people that are already successful, but need more time freedom and they need to figure out a way real quick. I also help new parents, right? That maybe right now they're just grinding, not getting enough time with their young ones at home. And they need more time freedom. They need to figure out a way to get back home or supplement their income uh, so they can keep doing what they're doing, right? So know your audience. It's very, very important. Very specifically, give them a name, right? So we used to do an exercise where we call them avatars. They're basically your ideal client, and give them a name. So if it's Betty Sue, the grandma that's of 12 grandchildren and 6 great grandchildren, then and she's a stay at home, she loves to bake and all this stuff. Know that that's who you're talking to when you're putting your messaging together. Okay. So the third mistake that I see that's really, really common is, it kind of goes back to what I said earlier about your market research, is your value proposition. It sucks. It means it doesn't really solve a problem, right? Or maybe it solves a problem, but you are not very good at articulating why it is for your audience. So for example, I like to use a couple different strategies. They're along the realm of feel, felt, and found. So, you're probably feeling this way. I understand. I felt that way before as well, until I found this, and it transformed my life. The solution, right? And I found it. Okay, that's when you start coming from that place. You start building trust with your audience, and people buy from people they know, like, and trust. Okay, so value proposition is very, very important. Poor messaging, which leads us into the poor messaging and positioning, same thing. Your messaging, you've got to stop selling. All right. Now, this was a hard one for me because I came from, um, you know, corporate America where it's all about selling and closing. Okay. The reality is, a good salesperson, a person that is really good at their job, doesn't have to sell anything at all. They enroll customers, right? They ask the right questions, right? They build trust with them by using storytelling strategies like the Phil Felt Found that I just shared, right? They bring them in. They're empathetic to their audience, meaning they know that what their audience is going through, and they have a solution for them, right? And they lead them to that buying decision by asking the right questions not selling them, right? Because people as nice as features are, the reality is people buy on feelings, they buy on emotion, right? And so when you've done your market research and you know your audience and you you know how to articulate it, right, with strong messaging that creates emotion or evokes emotion in your audience, then you're going to do very, very well. But if you don't do those things, then you're going to struggle until you figure out how to do that. That's why it takes people years to perfect these things, unless you're following a proven blueprint, right? I can't stress that enough. How you eliminate, getting 10,000 hours of practice in or doing it in to become an expert is you get somebody that's done it before with a proven blueprint that they share that you can there go and duplicate. It eliminates that learning curve and makes you an expert a lot quicker. Okay. Now, the fifth one is the big one, because the human nature is on January 1st, I'm going back to the gym. I'm going to release 30 pounds or 50 pounds or 10 pounds. I don't care. And by March 1st, 99% of those people have quit, right? Well, the same thing goes for your business. Inconsistent marketing, right? I used to tell people this years ago when I used to train and coach on social media marketing. It doesn't matter what you do as long as you're consistent with it, because people make time for, engaging you on social media. And you want to be consistent on the times that you publish the the content, and of course just be consistent, period. Don't post 10 posts over 36 hours and then for the next 3 weeks there's crickets, you don't do anything, right? It's a good way to get everybody excited and then lose an audience. Don't do that. You want to be disciplined and consistent. Okay. And if you're not sure how to do that, great, find somebody that's got a proven blueprint. Hey, by the way, did I say I have a proven blueprint that's got it's generated over 115, I believe, high six figure income earners, and I believe 15 or 20 7-figure earners. All right. So I think you might want to listen until the end. I might have a little something for you. All right. So the next thing is kind of goes back to understanding the first four things that we talked about: your market research, your audience, what's your value proposition or the value exchange that your product or service provides, and that is it really solving a problem? Because if you're not solving a problem, it's a nice to have but not necessary. In this market that we live in, this economy that we live in right now, people are only buying things that they know they need to have. The discretionary income isn't flowing like it has in years past. Even though there's lots more money out there, people are being more prudent with their spending, especially their disposable income. All right, their extra income, their extra dollars that they have left over after they pay all of their living expenses. Okay, so now this next one is really, really big. It's number 7, and it's underestimating the power of building an email list. Now, in my space, when I help people, they're like, man, I'm getting all these emails and all these leads, Joe, but people aren't buying. Cool. Let's start surveying them. Let's send out an email and ask them, how can you help them? What were they looking for when they opted into the email? Were they just, looking around? They were just interested in what it was all about, or was they like a piece of what you're offering, but they don't want maybe the whole pie, right? Or maybe they just need something completely different, and tell them to reply back to you directly, via email or through messaging. Okay. That's how you learn to create future products or how to make your products and services better. Okay. This is huge. So email lists are absolutely awesome, because if you built a great email list, and then it's kind of like you've built your own passive residual income. because you know that every time you send out, to that email list, no matter if it's a new product, it's a new version, it's a secondary or ancillary product, meaning like it's something that goes hand in hand with to make their job easier or something like that, it they'll buy, right? Or some will, some won't. Who cares what's next, right? But at the same time, about once a quarter, you always want to send out, an email and say, "How can I help you? What what have we missed that would help you out?" Right? And you'll be amazed at the responses you get, and they'll actually appreciate it, and they'll become even more of a loyal subscriber than they already were. Okay. Now, number 8 is a big one, and I failed miserably at this. So when I started my first consulting business, I did everything. I wore every hat. I was the web designer. I was the social media, you know, content creator. I was the graphic designer. Like everything, I outsourced some of it, but a lot of it I was doing myself. Why? Because of the next thing I'm going to talk about here in a second, but because I didn't have the margin in my pricing, in my business model to sustain outsourcing, um, and automating my business. But that's the thing I'm going to tell you right now. This is the secret, all right, to number 8. You have to automate. It's not necessarily that you necessarily have to outsource. I definitely recommend outsourcing down the road once you've made a substantial amount of income, then you can start reinvesting that back into, more outsourcing. But in the beginning, the biggest thing is just automate your business. So I talked about this yesterday in my live yesterday. If you didn't see it, go and watch it. I talked about what you need to have, which is your email opt-in, a thank you page, a sales page. Then need to have all your email marketing. And what happens when somebody puts that email in, it triggers an automation, and it sends them through all those emails, and it walks them through the sales process, because everybody needs multiple touches before they make a buying decision. Very rarely, very few people will say yes right away. Okay. So don't get, overwhelmed or concerned when people don't buy right away. That's not how people make purchasing decisions. They need multiple touches, right? They want to begin to know, like, and trust you. They want to make sure, they want to do their research. Let them do that. And it's all automated. So you don't have to do anything other than just, open up your email, seeing that you received another customer. Okay. All right. You want to do as little as possible. And I'm going to show you that with my 2-hour workday that I perfect or work on perfecting every day. Okay. Because if you're a busy parent, you don't have a lot of extra time. So if I said, hey, yeah, for 10 hours a day for the next 6 months, and then you can have the world, right? Now you could do that. But the reality is our blueprint is set up specifically for people to start out perfecting that 2-hour workday. And the gooder and gooder you get at it, yes, I did say gooder and gooder, then the better your sales will become, right? Okay. But the big thing is automate, 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 automate. Replace yourself as quickly as possible. You don't want to wear all the hats. Nobody wins when you do that, right? You know who wins? Your pillow, because you're going to constantly want to beat it up because you're exhausted, you're tired. You know who loses? Your significant other, your kids, your family, your community, and yourself, because you're probably sacrificing your health, all those relationships I just discussed. You're not contributing any value outside of, the workplace to yourself, because contribution isn't just about to others. It's actually self-love as well. You got to take time for yourself. There's a reason why they say put the oxygen mask on your face before you put it on somebody else's when you're in the airplane and there's an emergency. All right. Same thing goes for life. You've got to take care of yourself before you can add value to other people. Okay. So don't, wear too many hats. Automate as soon as possible. Stop trying to do too much all by yourself. All right. The other thing is pricing mistakes. If you price too high or price too low, the natural instinct is, oh, it's not worth much. There's no value there. That's the common misconception that I don't know why, but that's what they think, is because it's affordable. No, there's no value there, right? So it's important to understand your pricing, because if you're too expensive, then you have to be patient while you build that trust, while you build that brand exposure, and expose your brand to your audience. That takes time. Okay. So pricing is really important. Now, all of these things, these were 9 things that I went through: market research, clear target audience, weak value proposition, right? Inconsistent marketing, not solving a real problem with your product or service, underestimating the power of building an email list, trying to do too much alone, and now pricing mistakes. All of these things, guys, can be avoided by following a proven system. Somebody that's already done it. It's been duplicated over and over again, very, very successfully. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to find. Okay. Because at the end of the day, the most important one, the number one reason that I believe most online businesses fail, and they fail, oh man, some of it, it's agonizing to watch. I've seen it. I've had clients, I've had customers that have done it, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. It's that old thing, right? Or something a little deeper. When somebody is struggling with addiction, until they want to make the change, until the pain to stay where they're at is greater than the pain to make the change, they're not going to do it. They just won't, right? So why is that important? Because the number one reason I believe is people give up too soon. And there's this picture old business coach shared with me a long time ago. And it was this picture of these two, I guess they were like diamond miners or something. They were like some type of coal miners, but they were, and I believe it was diamonds is what it was. But they got pickaxes, and you can tell they've worked hard. They looked like they've worked hard, had a hard life. And there's one that literally was inches away from the diamonds, breaking through and having a huge, mine of diamonds, and he quit. While the other one was further away, just going, not going to quit. That's the mentality you have to have with an online business, with any business for that matter. With anything you do in your life, you have to have the mindset with a 100% intention. I talk about it all the time. 100% intention. And I'm going to share the story because if you haven't heard it before, I think it's very valuable. It's something I've had the opportunity to coach multiple times. And it's an exercise where we watch everybody stand on one side of a room, right? Imagine like a banquet room, if you will. Okay. Nice and big. So like an indoor soccer arena, if you will. Okay. And on one side, I've seen it as, as small as like 40, 50 people. And I've seen it as big as 150, 200 people. They're all lined up along the wall, and they're anxious to see what the exercise is. And the facilitator gets up there and goes, okay, when the music starts, I don't care who goes first, but whoever goes first, you have to have 100% intention how you're going to go across the room. All right. So are you going to walk? You're going to moonwalk? You're going to do the kick worm? How are you going to cross the room? Okay. You can do it any way you want. Right. Now, the people that go after the first person or after the first few people, you have to cross the room as well, but you can't do it in any manner or fashion that somebody before you has gone. So if somebody has done the moonwalk before, you're not allowed to do the moonwalk unless you add something to it, right? So what is the learning behind this? Well, the learning is you want to be one of the first people to take action, period, the end. Period, the end, right? If you've got a proven blueprint, you don't want to wait around. You want to take action now, right? You want to capitalize on the timing. Because if not, you're going to have more resistance. Like it's going to take a little more work the longer you wait. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you won't still have success, but the reality is the world rewards urgency. Okay. So that's one of the lessons that was learned. The second lesson is the limiting beliefs that we set on ourselves about how to cross that room, how to cross that floor, right? So like in the rooms where there was 150, 200 people, I've seen it done where somebody was always able to find a way. There's always a way. There's always a way. Because you can do the moonwalk, but instead of maybe just doing a straight moonwalk, you could add something to it. You could add some fingers to it. You could add some pointing to it. You could do whatever. Whatever your mind can create or think of, you can create. All right. The only thing holding you back is your limiting beliefs. Okay. So it's important. The reason I bring this up is because at the end of the exercise, they asked everybody that participated, okay, so now thinking about intention versus the way you cross the room, right? Or we'll put it in real life terms, the strategy, the product, the tools, the resources, right? What do you think is more important, intention or the strategies, tools, resources, that thing? Break it down for me. What's the percentage? Is it 60-40, 70-30, 80-20? What is it? And I always enjoy this because I've experienced it, because the resources, the tools, the strategies, they don't mean crap. They don't mean anything. Yes, there are some strategies that are better than others. However, the only thing that matters is your intention. Your intention that you said, I made a decision, I'm going to cross this floor. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure out how to do it. Okay. That's how you have to build your online business. You have to have 100% intention. You don't wait for, everything to be perfect. You just take action and you get a little bit better each and every day. You stay consistent and disciplined with your messaging. You make sure that you're servicing your audience. You're meeting them where they're congregating or hanging out the most, right? And you're providing them a valuable product or service or value exchange that solves a problem, a pain point they have. Okay. They're all important. But how do you do this? How do you do this and not fail each of these things? You find something where there's a proven blueprint. Right? Remember I said I got up to about number 5? We have a blueprint. We have a blueprint. And you know what? It's not so demanding that you can't take care of it. Because even if you work a normal 9 to 5, a traditional 9 to 5, or let's just say you work 10 hours a day, you know what? If you really want it, if you really want back time with your spouse, let alone your kids, you want time to be back and be fully present at dinner time. You don't want to miss dinner. You don't want to show up late, or worse, you don't want to be there and not be present. Or if you're like me, where we had season passes to Disneyland, and I thought I was the greatest business owner in the world. And while I was at Disneyland, all I was doing was checking emails. And you know what? It would take one email to piss me off, and then the rest of the day was shot. And all my kids, when they were little, all they wanted to do was have fun. And I wasn't there. I wasn't present with them, enjoying them, laughing, giggling, enjoying Disneyland, because I was pissed off at that one email that I got that I had no business even looking at for the day. I didn't need to. It wasn't necessary, right? But if you're in that space right now where there's just not enough time, maybe there's enough money, but you're sacrificing everything else to get there, your health, your relationships, your contribution to yourself and others, right? Maybe you're building your wealth, but it's getting to the point it's not worth it anymore. Or you need an off ramp. Well, I've got the system for you. And the blueprint will meet you wherever you're at. Whether you want to supplement your income or replace it, I can show you the way. I am 100% confident that if you have 100% intention and you stay committed to it, you stay consistent and disciplined, you will have success. It's just up to you how fast you'll have it, right? Which leads me back to the top 10 reasons why online businesses fail. Most people get into it and aren't clear on the things that I discussed today. They don't have a proven blueprint that they're following. They've gone to YouTube University and they think they're an expert now. Guys, the reality is, to become an expert at anything, statistically, they say it takes 10,000 hours minimum, right? That means that you've worked for almost 5 years, 40 hours a week to learn something, to learn a skill set, to become an expert at something, right? So let me ask you this. If you knew that at the end of 5 years, you could not only replace your income or not only supplement your income, but replace it and then some, all by perfecting a 2-hour workday, would you say no to that? I don't know very many people that would. Unless you absolutely love your job, I don't know very many people that would say if they could replace their income in the next 5 years with a 2-hour workday or learning how to perfect a 2-hour workday, would say no. Because the reality is I'm not just working 2 hours a day, guys. That would be a lie. Because I have other businesses that I'm building. Because my 2-hour workday that I have working on this business allows me to do other things. And it allows me to spend time with my kids. I take my kids to school. I pick them up. I take them to practices. I take them to their games. We travel. We do all this stuff. I wouldn't be able to do that if I had a traditional 9 to 5. Or if I did, it would be very, very challenging, right? If not impossible, okay? In most cases, I watch a lot of people, they have the money. I see it all the time. I see it in all of our kids. I see it at the games, at the soccer games, at the football games. I see the parents. I see the different levels of parents. The ones that show up and they're like, man, just made it. And the other ones that have been there the whole time, and they're building those precious memories, those times that they're never going to get back, because they understand the value of their time. Because really, at the end of the day, guys, that's what this is all about. Why would you start an online business? Why would you go and do something you don't have no clue about? Why would you do all that? It's because you want time. It's not the money. The money is a tool. The money is a tool. It's not going to give you happiness. The time is what's going to give you happiness. The freedom is going to give you happiness. The freedom is going to allow you to do what you want, with whom you want, when you want. So I'm going to leave you with this. If you're interested in my blueprint, then I would say the link is in my bio. Right? You can go there. Or you can simply go to homebasedblueprint.com. Here, let me write it down. So www.homebasedblueprint.com. So let me show you here. Homebasedblueprint.com. Put your email in. Check it out. You got questions? I'd love to help. The cool thing is our blueprint, it's got 4 different pricing models, and each of those pricing models offer payment options. So it'll meet you wherever you're at, wherever your budget's at, whatever you have time for, it will meet you there. But I'm telling you, if you don't start considering this now, unless you have, a secure business where in writing it says for the next 20 years, you're going to make, $150,000 a year or more, guys, nothing is Nothing is protected. COVID showed us that, right? The housing market crash in 2007, 8, 9, 10, it showed us nothing is secure, nothing is protected. At any given time, the economy can go upside down, inside out, and you're screwed. But if you have the skill set and you know how to build an online business because you built one successfully, then you can build them again, over and over again, right? So if you're ready, I'm ready. You can type "I'm ready" in the comments. I'll get you the information, or you can simply go to my bio, homebasedblueprint.com, or you can go there. You'll get a Freedom Formula blueprint. You'll go in. Second page will be a thank you page. There's going to be a video there telling you about it. You'll see some testimonials. You can click on that, go to the sales page, check all the products out, see what's for you. And hey, look at it. If it's not right for you right now, that's cool. I'm going to send you a few emails, let you know, to keep you, in the loop. All right. Because maybe today is not the right day, but maybe in a few days it is. Okay. And like I said, there may be something that I offer down the road that is a good fit for you. Okay. So until then, I thank you for watching. You've been on with me for about 36 minutes now. Remember, tell me where you're from. Tell me a little bit about where you're at. Even if you're watching this on replay, please. I love to learn about places throughout the world, or the US or the world for that matter, so I can maybe put them on my bucket list. Worst case scenario, I learn a little something from you. And for that, thank you. Hope you enjoyed the video today, the live. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, take care, and I wish you much success on building your online business. Take care. Don't forget, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and share. That would be great. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.